None shall stand in my way.
The plant is covered in pulsating purple spots. Young shoots are already covered in similar marks, clearly a sign of mutation, not a disease.
Suffer not the heretic to live!
Already done.
I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless. I'll do it.
Suits my purposes.
The blood freezes in your veins.
I have read tomes of military tactics. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
My vow is to serve. Running by miracle.
The soul slips beyond the veil. I am not your Xenos pet monkey. Doubt is for the weak. As the Emperor commands, I act.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. Request approved.
At your beck and call. Victory is imminent. Indeed.
High momentum.
I am fear incarnate. Something of interest.
Nothing escapes my sight. Duty prevails. The Emperor favors me today. Never doubt me.
A giant ravenous creature whose hide is pierced with spikes and spines. The skin around the growths is inflamed, as if the protuberances have appeared recently, causing the creature pain. The tall being in a fine long garment turns to you, their face hidden behind the blank visor of their helmet. When they begin to speak, even from a distance you feel the air around the figure grow cold.
Monkey, you should not be here.
Iliad strides forward, her eyes flashing.
Warren, I am calling you to account. You said that the great danger threatening the Lilithan lurked in the hearts of the Monkey, in their greed and ignorance. And all the while another enemy was looming over this world, an enemy whose tracks you should have seen in things to come. Silanthresh, she who thirsts, is threatening this world, and you hid it from us. Answer me, did you or did you not behold our greatest foe in the Lilithan's future? Did you lie to me?
After Iliad's words, the two tall Eldari behind Nuran start moving. One looks around at the leader, while the other lets out a cry, muffled under his visor. The rebel beside you cringes, as though the Eldari speech causes him pain. He strains to say something, but Nuran makes an imperious gesture and the soldier meekly straightens up and salutes, staring at the Xenos with slavish devotion. The robed figure inclines their head. And then they begin to speak.
Early at the outcast, you left the path that was set out for you. You brought unknown Monkey to our refuge. And now you speak to me with unseemly anger. Your long wanderings far from Kudarak have altered your mind and tainted your sight. If I may, I would like to say something.
My wanderings are the path I have chosen for myself. Far from the walls of Kudarak, I have seen and come to know things that no other Eldari could hidden away in a craft world their entire life. Why do you deny my words about Silanthresh? Is it because you were lying to me and my kin when you showed us the true path? This Elentak was the first person to discover the coming of Silanthresh, one of those whom the Monkey call Chaos Gods. Without him, I would still be deceived by your words about destiny and the true future.
Monkey revealing paths. It's ludicrous. Monkey bring pain and strife. In our time, and for all time. How can you trust a Monkey after what we taught you? After hearing the sorrowful song of the dying world?
Nuran turns his head toward you.
It was not chance that brought Kudarak down. Monkey destroyed our ancient home. Stripped us of our defenses. Doomed us to wander amidst the cold stars.
The colors of these Xenos are painful to behold, but there is just as much pain in their hearts. Or could it be fear? Despair? I cannot tell. The hues are too strange, too,
Cassia flinches, and a trickle of blood runs down her cheek.
Even if Kudarak was destroyed by humans as you claim, I imagine you gave them a perfectly good reason to do so.
The Ildar chuckles, his voice turning venomous.
Or it could be that your uncontrollable hunger to destroy everything in your path reigns over your every thought and deed.
You are playing with words and avoiding the question.
Notes of desperation and rage are creeping into Iliad's voice now.
The Lilithan is under threat from our eternal foe, and yet you're more concerned about the presence of the Elentak than the corruption that is flowing through the veins of this world. Did you never consider that your war might simply be hastening Silanthresh's triumph? Perhaps the ruler's servants, in their efforts to protect her, will resort to more and more instruments of corruption.
Nuran leans down over Iliad, his tone menacing.
You left Kudarak in our darkest hour to gratify your ego. You came to us on the Lilithan, and I accepted you as one of our own. I even gave you a real purpose, early at the outcast, and you dare to insult me, a farcer? It was a mistake to let you into our circle. You have turned our efforts to survive into dust with your own hands.
I am a child of Assyrian Warren, not a plaything in the cold hands of fate, which you claim speaks through your mouth. My choice of path is no worse than yours or any other Eldari's, and my path calls me to fight our true enemies, not eradicate the Monkey. If it comes to it, I will stand with them, for this Elentak can see what you are blind to, Farser.
Iliad's eyes are alight with fury. She pointedly lays her hand on her weapon, looking away from the Farseer.
I am willing to help the Eldari defeat the archenemy. But first we must deal with the rebellions you have been orchestrating.
Muran turns his head toward you.
So early the outcast has revealed our secret to you. I'm sure you have something to say in that regard, Monkey. If this world is in serious danger, there is no sense in fighting each other. Let us deal with our common enemy together. The name of that danger is Monkey, and I will see to it that the Lilithan is purged of those defiling her face. Then again, there is one way to prove to me that the Monkey truly do care about the well-being of their captured world. Eliminate the ruler of the Monkey sojourning on the Lilithan, and relinquish the governing of this world to me and my kin. The Lilithan herself will stand as surety for our agreement, as will your compatriots who live on it, and the profit that you will gain by tilling the maiden world.
Muran tilts his head to the side.
Our human helpers will replace the leaders of the Monkey. We will be the ones who govern the Lilithan from the shadows. And where's my guarantee that the planet and its inhabitants will be safe? You have the word of a child of Asurian, who venerates life far more than any of you. What is more, Monkey, I have not the slightest desire to inflict harm upon the Lilithan, the land of the Eldari ancestors.
Muran says nothing for a few moments, then adds mockingly.
I suppose my demands can be considered a gift for the likes of you. You could not wish for anything better than Eldari stewards to rule over Monkey without bloodshed. Requires iconoclast, follower, address Earliot. I can't convince your kinsman, but I know you are on my side. Will you help me save the Lilithan from the true enemy?
Iliad seems to freeze for a moment, and then she turns sharply to Muran.
Throughout all the cycles that I wandered amidst the stars, I was sure of one thing. Fate can be changed. Cling to your faith, Farser, but I refuse to follow a blind man who is dooming his kin to a false hunt. I am going off on my own path with the Elentak.
Muran's voice rumbles like distant thunder.
You will not defy your masters and betray the customs of Kudarak again, outcast.
Stop treating my path as if it were a curse.
Iliad's voice rings out, and barely suppressed rage dawns in her eyes.
My path is not a mark of disgrace. It was what saved me from dying along with Kudarak, a death that was doomed to suffer by your empty predictions.
You foolish wretch. You have exceeded my patience. Your path ends here and now.
I'll wipe you from the face of the galaxy!
Are you ready to die?
Absolutely not. Nothing I can't do.
I am a navigator, not a servitor. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. If I may... Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. I am a navigator, not a servitor.
Heal my wounds.
Scared yet?
Here we go.
Don't frighten me.
Help me, Lord Captain!
I'm here, maggot.
Hold on.
None can escape the Emperor's judgment. I'll do it. That is not the Emperor's will. His strike is a prayer. Faith without deeds is worthless. As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak. As the Emperor commands, I act.
High momentum.
Power resides in the will of the righteous. I'll do it. Faith without none can escape the Emperor's judgment. I'll do it.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it! Show me what you've got!
As the tactical imperative dictates. The scriptural prophecy to momentum servitorization denied. Request approved. My vow is to serve. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. running binaric override. Request approved.
I will do my duty. We'll rule the stars themselves. Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. At your beck and call. Grey hair, sure hand. Target well struck. Victory is reduced to dust. I've seen worse battles than this in my time. I took care of this one. Indeed.
High momentum.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
It will be done.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
I will not yield to the likes of you.
I'll paint your death in colors.
At your beck and call, one fewer target. A tactically sound approach. It will be done.
I'll return this favor tenfold.
Reduced to dust. Victory is imminent. Indeed. An exemplary strike. At your beck and call. It will be done.
If I may. As duty demands, you will pay an even greater price.
This is why I was chosen. As the Emperor demands, I act. Swift and silent. I understand your intent.
Advancing.
Not a problem for me. I don't have time for this. Already done.
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
The scriptural prophecy function successfully terminated.
Iliad surveys the field of battle.
May the gods guard us against pride and wandering in the vagaries of fate.
Are you all right?
All right, I am overcome with grief and anger and anguish. But if I give free rein to my emotions, I will be drawing the thirst of she who has already entangled the Lilithan, and, it seems, befuddled the mind of the one who is called to lead my kin. My kin have trusted in the visions of Farsars for millennia to show us our path amidst the stars. But throughout my life on Crutarak, I have too often seen knowledge of things to come, as changeable and capricious as deep water currents, weave chains around the bodies of those who fear to enter murky waters. That is why I became an outcast, renouncing the traditions of Crutarak and leaving its confines to seek out my own path. Perhaps Crutaraka's demise filled Morin with so much sorrow that it poisoned his mind. Or perhaps it was hatred for the Monkey who desecrated the face of the Lilithan that plunged his mind into darkness. Or perhaps Silantresh herself was toying with the Farsar who had found himself amidst her poisoned gardens.
Iliad begins speaking more quietly, though harshness breaks through in her voice at times.
I will never learn the answer to this question, but perhaps if I uncover the secret of Crutaraka's demise, I might be able to lift the veil even a little on this mystery.
There is nothing more to be done here. Time to return to the shuttle.
Iliad gives you a long, studying look.
Wait, Elentak. Before you leave these forests forever, take me with you. To the distant suns. The tale of the children of Assyrian on the Lilithan is coming to an end, but somewhere out there, among the cold stars of the cosmos that your kind calls the expanse, there are others. Deprived of home, lost, suffering.
Iliad shuts her eyes, and grief twists her finely sculpted features.
We can help one another, Elentak. You will be my wings, and I your wounding spear. And your voice of reason, should you encounter my kin. If that is still not enough.
Iliad thinks for a moment and continues carefully.
I promise you a wondrous reward, Elentak. The treasures of my world hidden in the vastness of space, in exchange for the rescue of my kin. If you remain true to your word and do not go back on our covenant.
It is an honor to welcome an Eldari wanderer into my ranks.
The Eldari shifts slightly and lowers her head. A ghost of a smile appears on her lips.
My heart sings at the thought of the Lilithans approaching liberation, but we must not rest while Silanthresh's servants still mar the face of the maiden world. And remember your promise, Elentak. When we leave the Lilithan, it will be to go to the distant stars. Morin saw them in his visions, and they sang mournful songs about the fate of my people. And I will fight beside you until the Song of the Stars turns into a funeral lament.
Iliad is a Xenos, one of the Assyriani. She is a ranger who follows the path of the outcast, and her skills in ranged combat are without equal. Iliad does not use human weapons and can wear either Eldari armor or, if she learns the required feature, Drukari armor. Iliad's unique ability instantly ends her turn. However, at the start of her next turn, she will make an attack that always hits its target.
have
The
learned
mystical
much
gate to
in
the
my
webway,
exile.
as far as you know, the only method of entering the mysterious dimension created by long-forgotten races of old. On his travels, the rogue trader may encounter Eldari who fled Kruderak and now find themselves in dire straits. Iliad has promised to reward the Lord Captain should he manage to rescue them.
This cannot be.
The air around the stone palm dotted with ancient runes is thick with the smell of ozone.
My success
The massive
was
statue depicts
inevitable.
one of the gods of the Eldari, an ancient Xenos race that once inhabited vast regions of the galaxy.
Nothing's impossible for this old officer.
Follow my lead. Submit, and you'll die quickly.
I will level you!
Nothing I can't do. Suits my purposes.
Painted black. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
All too easy.
Isn't this a job for Grace, at least? Me, if you insist, Lord Captain.
Doubt is for the... Strike is a prayer. I'll do it. I refuse. As the Emperor commands, I act. In thy light I stand, and thy light I crave. Faith without none can escape the Emperor's judgment. Doubt is for the... As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless.
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
God, Emperor, move through me! Be the fire in my heart! Eradicated. As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak. This is unacceptable. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. I'll do it.
I approach the designated position. If it serves your cause. This tedium is beneath me.
It cleanses the body.
Running binary significant value. The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all. Cogitation failed.
Follow my lead. Target well struck. At your beck and call.
The pad is speckled with black tracks and scratches. Judging by the evidence of landings and takeoffs, flying machines land here on a regular basis. It could be one of the local types of shuttles.
It's about time.
Experience. Nothing matters more.
The mutilated body is covered in deep lacerations.
Compared to naval service, that was barely
I'll
a
lay
challenge.
claim to the stars.
When rumors of Theodora von Valancius's appearance were spreading all over the ship, I saw many flashes of yellow.
The touch of
Your
Shehuthurst
crew
has
hoped it
disfigured
was
the
true.
Lilithan down to the smallest of her children.
Lady Theodora
How deep
was
does the corruption
a
run?
complicated person.
This plant,
But
once a harmless
her
shrub,
actions
has
in the
now
face of
completely
danger
changed.
earned her the
Its
officer's
outer
deepest
tissue has
respect,
cracked from the juice's swelling
and
in its
her
pulp and now
intolerance of
oozing down the
weakness
leaves in murky
earned her the
rivulets.
undying adoration
The
of
mutation
common
looks like the result
laborers.
of some powerful sorcery.
I better myself through my service.
What is that?
The Emperor favors me today. With fire and vigor, our Emperor, imbue us!
Already done.
You cannot force me, Elantak. I am not your Xenos pet monkey.
Nothing I can't do. Suits my purposes. All too easy.
That is foolishness. Step aside. The navigator is coming.
Emperor, deliver us!
Do not dare ask. Me? You insist, Lord Captain. If I may? Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Faith without deeds is worthless. I will not! I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury! I'll do it. For you, my Emperor! Doubt is for the weak. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it.
I move swiftly to strike. If I must, no weakness is hidden from my sight.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Running binary conflict. The scriptural prognosis is favorable. High momentum.
Not a problem for me. My time is now. Suits my purposes.
I am not your Xenos pet, monkey.
Nothing I can't do.
Emperor, give me strength. Me? You insist, Lord Captain? I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
I will do my duty. Indeed.
I am a navigator, not a servitor. Another foe painted black.
Eradicated. Power resides in the will of the righteous. Faith without this is why I was chosen. Doubt is faith.
See you moving? No more.
This Vox Tower was assembled from parts clearly not intended for such a use. Among the support beams and plasteel sheets, you see arches from containers and fasteners from agri-cisterns.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Is something wrong, your lordship? Is something wrong, your lordship?
The door guard bows obsequiously.
Lord von Valancius, we are most delighted to welcome you as our guest. Would your lordship prefer to speak to the governor alone or with your entourage?
Greetings, your lordship. How may I be of assistance?
I found the rebel's nest, Vistenza.
Have you really, your lordship? And what have you learned?
Everything, Vistenza. I know everything. And now you have one chance to beg for mercy.
Your lordship. But I have no idea what you're talking about. You have woven your web of deceit in vain. You can no longer hide behind the veil of ignorance. Styx has seen the evidence of your deeds, heard the cries of the tormented Lilithan, walked amidst the decay that you brought to the maiden world. Enough of your lies, chaos wretch. Earliot.
Vistenza exclaims breathlessly.
How dare you, you filthy vermin! I will have you flayed for that outburst. Your lordship, what is going on? The colors are darting to and fro like startled shadows. The colors know that they are the veil that stands between the soul and the truth. If the veil falls, all will turn red and purple. Even now, I can already see the muted purple seeping through.
I've already heard enough, Vistenza. But if you wish me to repeat myself, we know that your loyalty lies with the ruinous powers.
Vistenza clenches her teeth so hard you hear a crack.
I, daughter of House Viat, governor of Janus, and citizen of the Imperium, serve no one other than the Emperor and the von Valancius dynasty. And what you are accusing me of is merely a tool at my disposal. A tool that I have the power and courage to use. Do you think ordinary methods would have been enough to tame this demented planet? No. My family struggled for decades to subdue Janus once and for all, and it was all in vain. But loyal servants of those families who have resided on Janus for centuries helped me to unlock a new source of power. Ancient knowledge secretly passed down from generation to generation, accessible to a select few, and which grants power over nature itself. How could I reject it? How could I undo all the work of my predecessors, who were entrusted with Janus, who faithfully served the von Valancius dynasty, and who with a madman's obsessiveness hewed this rock into a stunning diamond? 2 days spent among the initiated was enough for me to start hearing the voices of angels in my ears, angels who gifted me the keys to conquering this world. And before you offend my ears with more accusations or moral admonitions, remember who has dutifully served your dynasty all these years. Remember who has devoted her life to turning Janus into the primary source of wealth in your protectorate. Remember to whom your predecessor entrusted one of her most valuable worlds, without fear of treachery or conspiracy. Without me, without my service, my sacrifice, Janus would be nothing.
Pascal's vox emits a pensive hiss.
Behold, proof of why knowledge must remain in the hands of the worthy. Many lay people are capable of possessing it, but a wise mind that is not bound by oaths of obedience to the omniscient is vulnerable to corruption and free thinking. Even more vulnerable than the mind of an ignorant commoner.
What more proof do you need, Elentak? The Monkey has confessed to her handiwork.
Iconoclast, I will not allow a miscreant like you to continue wreaking evil.
You made a mistake in thinking that anyone would come to your aid on my world. Servants to me.
This Explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
None shall stand in my way.
Watch your steps.
I'm restless.
This ocular implant was a worthwhile investment.
I did fine.
The machine
Unlocked.
god grants me insight.
Follow my lead. I'm always ready. Halt. I
What
noticed
advice
something.
do you seek? A nice little stroke.
We shall prevail. A new challenge for me.
The Emperor sets my path.
I won't heed your cries of mercy.
Come to chaos!
All too easy.
A gust of cold wind ruffles your hair.
Already done. Suits my purposes.
As the Emperor, this is why I was chosen. I'll do it. Faith without hope.
I'll pass.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Running by narrative right. The order is contrary to dogmatic protocols. My vow is to serve. Request approved. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
I understand your intent. Another soul slips beyond the veil.
Just a minor setback.
My faith strengthens me. Break their morale.
The Omnissiah condemns you. The scriptural prognosis is painful. Request denied.
Crush the feeble! I serve the ruinous power! Give in to sensation!
My faith shields me.
Minds exist only to be broken!
I will rise.
Be careful not to cross my gaze. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. I'm afraid not. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Request approved. My vow is to serve. Request approved.
I move as if unseen. This tedium is beneath me.
Such is the will of chaos.
Don't leave us.
That's an order! The brink of agony!
Heavy is the tread of his faithful. The Omnissiah's significant value. Running binaric override.
Maya delights fetching you!
I've suffered worse.
Give in to sensation!
Victory is imminent. At your beck and call. It will be done. Indeed.
Let's see how they respond to this. Not a problem for me. Nothing of value has been lost. Nothing I can't do. All too easy. Nothing I can't do. Not a problem for me.
I have read tomes of military tactics. I am a navigator, not a servitor.
At your beck and call.
I am unsatisfied!
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
High momentum.
Hear you moving, no more. My heart sinks with the thrill of battle! If it serves your cause. If I must.
My vow is to vital functions successfully terminated.
It will be done. I will do my duty.
One fewer target.
Victory is imminent. At your beck and call.
High momentum.
Nothing I can't do. All too easy. Already done. Not a problem for me. I am fear incarnate.
Running binary significant value. Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Fortune favors the swift.
If I may. If only that were possible.
Ancestors, guide me!
Running binary code right. My vow is to serve. Request approved. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. Indeed. It will be done. I will do my duty.
Suits my purposes.
Surfaces around are covered with mucus.
All too easy.
It will be done. Reduce the dust.
Iliad lowers her weapon, but her shoulders remain tense. She finally catches her breath, shaking her hair out of her face in a fluid motion, and looks at you.
You have done your duty, Elentak. From now on, the Lilithan has hope for the future, a future without Sylan Thresh and her followers. This world has yet to be cleansed, but there is a time for everything. Now is the time to thank you.
Iliad bows her head slightly.
I hope that's the last I'll hear about cultists on Janus.
You are hoping in vain. The seeds these spawn leave behind may sprout in 100 years, in other people and other deeds. I pray that I am wrong.
I will most likely return to Janus in the future. I must keep an eye on my worlds.
Iliad nods pensively.
Attention to detail is the key to success.
I woke up with a feeling of wonder, as if a field of flowers was blossoming nearby. A child was saved from death. 1,000 heretics were burning alive, begging and sobbing and howling.
To be an aristocrat is to exist in a higher state of being, without a doubt. Each of us is born to realize one supreme purpose, to lead humanity to perfection through our example, perfection which the lesser beings have forgotten in the endless cycle of war and service. Only by attending to their physical, intellectual, and spiritual needs can an aristocrat fully devote themselves to that for which they were born, creative passions, whether that be the fine arts, the written word, government, or other more refined spheres of worldly knowledge. An aristocrat's passion is in itself a virtue and the highest good. An aristocrat must satisfy these needs by any means open to them. Nothing stimulates a weary mind like fine amasec, a good flogging, or enjoyment of carnal pleasures with women, men, and animals. In the thrill of passion, an aristocrat is at liberty to torture or maim the object of their desire. If the clergy frown upon such an act, repent, atone for the apostasy with jewels, and forgive them their closed minds, for only an aristocrat is given to understand that such acts are in service of a grand purpose. Should an aristocrat deliberately curtail their own desires in some way and fail to appreciate the gifts granted them as one of nature's higher beings, then in what way do they differ from the dust beneath one's feet, from the mindless beast, or from the crude, deceitful, useless rabble? Such a pretender is an agonizing stain on our noble society, and it behoves every true aristocrat to return our lost brother to the fold or to stamp out his contemptible life as gladly as we might crush a vexatious bug beneath our boot.
My
Unlocked.
success is an irrefutable certainty.
Victory awaits!
You left the Navis Imperialis to serve the rogue trader. Do you ever regret it, Seneschal?
No, I do not regret it in the least. Serving in the Imperial Navy is a fine thing to do. But it was only under Lady...
The secretary is shaking in terror, looking around at the devastation.
Why, your lordship? What happened? Where is Lady Viet?
The secretary stares at Iliot in horror. His face twists, but he cannot seem to get out a single word.
Janus was under two distinct threats: the corruption of chaos in the form of Vistenza Viet and her associates, and the Xenos who had manipulated the servants of the Imperium. I dealt with both of them. Heresy? Xenos?
The secretary makes a protective gesture in the air.
God Emperor preserve us. Your lordship, you have surely saved us from our doom. We will immediately begin scouring the planet to root out any remaining conspirators and traitors.
The secretary begins to speak, but thinks better of it, instead choosing to step aside and bow his head as you pass.
I'll lay claim to the stars. None shall stand in my way.
We now have control over the granaries of Janus. The promise of help given to the Liege of Footfall Vladain Takara can now be fulfilled, should the rogue trader so desire.
One. Iconoclasts send provisions to Footfall, giving its inhabitants new hope and asserting their right to rule over the station.
The inhabitants of Footfall Station will praise the rogue trader who spared them the painful choice between starvation and succumbing to the reign of Incendia Chorda. To welcome the new rogue trader, the Adeptus Mechanicus's planetary office brought to the ship an offering of several versatile macro-combines, ancient machines whose carcasses had been found on Janus and carefully restored. The sacred steel titans will serve the von Valancius dynasty, The tranquility of the warp jump was disturbed by reports of frightening sounds and visions that descended upon the crew. Hundreds of people reported knocking and screaming behind the bulkheads of the void vessel, the sound of nails scratching against the hull and the elongated Eldra-like shadows thrashing about the long passageways. The phenomena were most prominent in the far corner of the officer deck where the new Lord Captain's companion, named Iliad, had made her home.
The ship left the hostile immaterium and returned to real space.
Lord Captain, the world of Foulstone has been upset by a conflict between the followers of the Order of the Hammer and the refugees from the Winterscale dynasty's domain. An argument broke out near the tomb of the renowned holy man Nicomedes Keith, and the tomb was damaged in the fray. The pilgrims revering Keith's rival, Philippimenes of Malpai, claimed Keith to be a thief who had stolen the relics of St. Cargnatius and violated the sacred mystery of his resting place to sate his greed. The Order of the Hammer is furious at the heretical statements and the desecration of Keith's burial site.
Who is this Nicomedes and Philippimenes? What is the issue here?
Saint Nicomedes Keith is a missionary who arrived in the Expanse alongside the founders of the Order of the Hammer, offering them valuable guidance for colonizing Foulstone. He converted many worlds to the Imperial Creed, but his most famous feat was his search for the burial site of the legendary preacher, St. Cargnatius, who conquered the Expanse thousands of years ago, leaving behind scores of relics. Keith was able to track down some of those relics. The order was named after the power hammer of St. Cargnatius, Piety's charge. Philippimenes of Malpai is a priest from Winterscale's realm. He preached in the same times as Nicomedes Keith and denounced him for the false veneration of St. Cargnatius. He believed that Cargnatius preached the incomprehensibility of the highest wisdom to the people, and that any attempts to learn it would only lead to heresy. He called the search for St. Cargnatius's burial site blasphemy and the collection of relics looting and soliciting. In his opinion, the sacred objects should not be congregated in one place but should find haven across the many worlds. The relics are power, and their aggregation gives way to pride.
What say my advisors?
For a group that has just arrived in a foreign realm, the Malpians' conduct is insolent at best. Penance should be imposed on them. We will send them on a pilgrimage to find the relics of St. Cargnatius and to learn the ways of St. Keith. In this way, they would be of use for returning the lost relics, and the Order of the Hammer would be satisfied with a just verdict. There was a similar theological dispute at the Fifth Aphelian Council, and the conflict between the two cults was resolved in sacred duel. 20 champions from each side came forward, both sides vowing to accept the victor's teachings if they lost. I propose to invoke the council's edict and settle the dispute in the same way. They believe that their faith is superior. Then let them prove it. Subject them to a severe test of faith. If they survive it, they will have proven their steadfastness. Even if the Order of the Hammer does not accept their arguments, it will be easier for them to recognize the newcomer's right to interpret the way of St. Cargnatius if they prove it with their own blood and pain. The Malpians have renounced the concept of possession. Their vows are true and similar to ours, but they lack humility and reverence for the dead. The blood-spun web could embrace their leaders. We could teach them. We could soothe the turmoil.
The Malpians display impressive zeal. I charge the Order of the Hammer to welcome 100 of the new arrivals into their ranks. Let them learn one another's ways and come to accept their distinct paths toward the reverence of Cargnatius.
It shall be done, Lord Captain. 100 Malpians were tonsured into the Order of the Hammer, and the two teachings were forced to coexist within the walls of one monastery.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Access has been granted to the following options: information exchange, strengthening of diplomatic links, / trade deals. Show the data slate. I have collected planetary data that may interest you.
With a respectful nod, the tech priest takes the data slate.
The collected data is / of interest / significant / compliant with the criteria for cooperation / The Cognizance Fleet thanks you for your contribution and guarantees the provision of a reciprocal / service / indulgence / in the form of parts and equipment. Reporting. The Kappa Thread supply line is ready to continue cooperation with the Von Valancius dynasty in the sphere of planetary reconnaissance. The Omniscia knows all, comprehends all.
Follow my lead!